Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Deb here. Welcome back for a make video. So yeah, finally a make video. I know it hasn't been happening very often, and it's not really going to be that big of a make video. It's just kind of showing you what I'm doing with my leftover bits. Well, my garbage really is what I'm going to show you what I'm doing with my garbage. So I'm working on a cat journal. That's what's happening. Let me just get a sip of this, just a sec. The coffee's really good today. Yeah, so I'm working on a cat journal, which is very like watercolor colors. So I've been dyeing flowers. So I bought some, some fake flowers. This is just Dollarama, $2 for all these. Now I have a bunch of white flowers, but I wanted some small ones, some smaller ones, and different shapes. So I did buy these. I'm not going to show you. This will probably be another tutorial when I make flowers. Well, this is going to be kind of making flower video, but anyway. So yeah, so I get the white ones, and then I can dye them, right? So I use like my dilution sprays. You can use anything. Dilution sprays, you can use Crayola markers if you want to like, let the ink seep out of them. But I was using my dilutions because that's the colorways that I've been using in the journal. And I'm just going to show you. So I just been doing these. So these turn into these. Much nicer, right? Now I still have this size to do. And I had a bunch of lei flowers. So I cut a couple of my leis open that I had got from the Dollarama. And these will get layered on top of each other with some more layers, of course, in between or whichever. So it will turn into a nice, really pretty flower in the end once all the layers and stuff are there. But I was, dyeing them. So that's what was going on. So the reason why I'm telling you about the dyeing, I'm just going to push these all aside because we're not doing the flowers today. But we will do flowers another day because I had a bunch of baby wipes. So I was cleaning up baby wipes, right? Cleaning up the dyes, cleaning up the mess all over my mat, which I still didn't do a great job of. But these are really beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Colors that they turn into. Just cut pieces here. That I can't let go to waste because these are honestly what I need in the journal is all this watercolor kind of, motifs. So what I was thinking, of course this can be used in different things, but look at the colors, aren't they beautiful? Like Jen's probably freaking out right now. I don't normally work in these colors, so it's new for me to work in colors like this. But I had a bunch of these, and I'm thinking, well, I was working on flowers, so I was like, well, I need to make these into flower bases in some way, right? So I make flowers out of fabric generally, or lace, or whichever. And I don't even have one to show you. Nope, I do not. And what did I do with that? Okay. But you can make flowers out of any piece of fabric, okay? So I can make a flower out of this. I can make a flower out of this lace. Anything that you can think of. This is just the two pieces that were on my desk. Sorry guys, that's what it was. But you can make these into flower bases as well. So I'm gonna make them in, because I'm working in the color in these ones, but I will make one out of these two. I know this looks really, very manly and whatever, but just because they're on my desk, as I think there's a arm's length. This is arm's length. This was on my desk. So I'm going to make flowers out of two flower bases out of this in the end. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with this. So very, very simple. All you need is a bobby pin. And this one's a small bobby pin. If you can get a bigger bobby pin, it would be easier, honestly. But I just have a small one. And I have sorry, my arms are gonna go across this, but I have some crochet cotton on a roll right behind me, crochet cotton. And I'm just gonna cut, 4-inch, just something I can tie with comfortably. I can trim these down later. very easily. So I'm just gonna make, I'm not gonna make this a really long, I'm not gonna do all of this, but I'm just gonna make a few, okay? So these are the 2 tools that you need with any piece of fabric, any piece, okay? This is not new news. If you guys have seen this before, I'm sorry, I'm just repeating myself. So you're gonna see it again. And this is just one way that I'm gonna use up these baby wipes. So I'm not gonna make all this into flowers. I'm also gonna make them into something else, okay? Now, this one is shorter. These ones are longer baby wipes, which I found. This one I might use for a flower, a different flower, we'll see. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, do I want them that length? I'm gonna cut these. Like this. I'm gonna try to get that even as I can. My goodness. Fiddly, see, I did this no problem without you guys on camera. I'm gonna move this stuff out of there. It's sticking to it. Doop. There. And fold it over again. And this is the way I only have to do 2 cuts instead of all the cuts. So I'm gonna cut along here and give this a, what are these called? A pinking shears? A pinked edge? Pinked? Does that even make sense? Pinking shears? Pink edge. Doesn't have to be perfect at all. And I'm going to flip this over, and this one moved on me, so I might have to do this one separately. Oh, no, I'm going to move it over. And I only have to do 2 cuts is the whole idea. Save some time. Especially if you're making a lot of these. You don't want to be fiddling with this too long. Okay, now I know some of you would save this, but I'm not. Oh, I need those strings though. I'm not going to save that. These little bits, I'm going to get rid of those. Okay, so technically now I have 4 bases. Oh. Cut all the way through, Deb. 4 bases. How to fail doing a flower on video. There we go. 4 bases is what it is, right? These are going to be small flowers, is what these are going to be. So you just take your bobby pin. You guys have probably seen this before. I use the big side closest to me, just so then when you're using lace and stuff, it doesn't get caught, I find. But literally just crunch it down. Like this. This might be too much, but actually I think I'm going to cut a little bit of this off because these are smaller flowers. So I'm just going to cut a little bit off. They're not as wide, right? So you don't need them. And try to get as much centered as possible. And then you just take one of these strings. Now I was sewing these at one time, and then come on, my nails. And then I realized, why am I sewing these? Why is this taking so long? It's a process because I can't see with that needle. It's too small, so I'm gonna pull out. Just pull it as tight as you like, not super tight, just so you can pull out the thing, and then pull it tighter. And then I'm going to flip it around, and I'm going to tie it back on this side. This one's the baby one. Now, I didn't start my hot glue. I should have started my hot glue. Let's tie that up into a double knot. You can use your hot glue to like connect the ends of your flower. Now I'm just going to poof this up. Like you would glue these 2 sides together. And I should just turn on my glue gun. Just give me a sec. I'm going to heat it up and then we'll finish them later, maybe. This one's really small. And I probably should have cut a little bit more off, but it's going to be a very full flower, is what it's going to be. Okay, so we'll fiddle with that in a minute. they will turn out like this. So this one I didn't even glue either. They just, because it was bigger, you can layer these up, right? You get the idea. And now this, like I said, can be used on any width of fabric. Now these ones are going to be smaller, so I'm going to actually cut these down because they are smaller. Smaller flowers. The ribbon isn't as wide, is where I was going with this, right? So if you wanted wider ribbon, which I'm going to do in a second, we'll do like a 4-inch ribbon type deal. And then I'll show you the difference. But instead of me throwing out all these baby wipes, because really they're just garbage, right? I'm just going to push this down. I found other uses for them because I didn't really want to throw them out. They're good to have, right? As embellishments. Now these are going to be embellished further, obviously. You know, you have centers, put buttons or gems or whichever. And let's see how fast these are to make them. Now if I was sewing this, I'd still be like weaving. That's how slow I am. So this, it just speeds up the process for me. You guys might like the sewing portion, and I'm pulling this right out. I think there's like a happy medium on this, like the width of it, and I think this one might be just a little too there we go, too narrow of, what side was I doing this on here? Too narrow of a ribbon, so I'm going to do it on a larger one just so I can show you. And I am gonna, now they're almost like a bow. You could leave them just as bows, honestly, and just have these as embellishments. And even you could put tails. I could glue tails on the back side of these. Come on. I'm just gonna pull on the ribbons so they get a little bit more shabby. And I could just glue some tails on the back side of that. And then have like a little button. Do I have a little button? What do I have? Buttons. A little tiny, this is probably too big. But a little button in the middle. As easy as that. Now, obviously, you can layer this up and things like that. But which would look much better layered up. But we'll do them wider. These ones are kind of thinner, like too narrow. Do this one. This one's pretty. This one is pretty. So let's see. Turn it like this. And let's do half size. Make them. Now with them wider, I don't know if it's going to be long enough. I might need longer ones, but let's try it. Or I can put 2 in it, honestly. If it's not long enough, I'll just put the other side. The ribbon. So yeah, don't throw out your baby wipes. And you're cleaning up your inks and stuff, use them. And they're good for backgrounds too. Obviously, you can sew this, you know, you can sew an image right on top of these because they're like a felty kind of fabric. I don't know what baby wipes are actually made out of. But they're sterile, you know that, and they're gonna go in the garbage. So if they're pretty colors, use them. Now, let's pull that one out. Boop. Come on. I don't like doing finicky things on video. That's why I don't do a lot of these little make videos, because a lot of my stuff is finicky. And my fingers don't like to work sometimes. Oh my goodness. But there we go. And I still didn't plug in my heat gun. Just give me one, not heat gun, but my glue gun. Give me a second here. Doop. There. Okay. So, is this going to be wide enough? I think so. Oh, it is long enough. Okay. I wasn't sure if it was going to be long enough or not to make the flower. Just try to make it centered. And like I said, I'll glue these two ends together, and then you have, and you can layer them up like that. Very pretty. Now give me a second. I'm going to plug that in. Plug the baby in here so I can seal it up. There we go. Okay, it's going to take a couple minutes. So very simple, right? Very, very simple. Now, I'm not going to continue with doing these ones. Well, actually, I'm going to do one more. This one here. And then I'll show you on the fabric what it looks like on this manly fabric. I couldn't have picked the worst fabric, but it's on my desk, so you know what? That's how it's going to work. So I did those for these. So I figured I'd use these up for flowers. And then I'm going to show you what else I did with these, which I can find it. Where'd it go? Oh, right here. I made ruffles on my sewing machine. This actually goes through the sewing machine very, very well. Well, I did one on mine anyway. Didn't even have to fight it, which was great. This one's actually going to be a bigger flower, which is nice. And I doubled it. So I did 2 ruffles, and then I sewed them separately, and then put them on top of each other, and then sewed them down. So my idea was, oh, where did that go? Oh my gracious, where did you go? Where? Over here. Okay. So Kim had given me this beautiful blue bling that I think I'm going to glue down the center of this. Doesn't that look beautiful? For the journal. So just add a little bit of, you know, a little bit of sparkle. I'm not used to working in sparkles, so like glitter and shinies, as I'm calling them. And Kim is getting me hooked on shinies because they're really beautiful. So I thought this was a nice, this would be pretty in the journal. What you guys think? Do you think that looks nice like that? And then, I don't know, maybe I could even, not those, but making different flowers or something, or I'm not sure yet, but we'll figure out something else. But isn't that pretty? I find that's really, really pretty. So yeah, use these as ruffles. I'm going to tie the last one. Oh, last one here. Make ruffles out of these, and they're just tiny ruffles, so these are great for journaling cards. Like, this is not a journaling card, but it could be if it was decorated. You know, you could have this at the bottom, and you could have a nice, you know, layered flower or something on here. Not something so matchy, but you know, something like that. You could have this on the side of a page or a side of a journaling card to even like pull it out, whichever. Be really pretty. And these are unlimited, so if you don't have fabric and you don't want to go spend money on fabric, go get yourself I don't know how many baby wipes are in a pack. 100 or 500, 250? I don't even know. And let them dry out. I just leave the package open, and they're great for picking up glue, is what I picked that for. Is like smush it out glue is what I normally use them for. And normally I have some that are wet and some of them are that are dry, but they all dried out right now, so that's where I'm at. Anyhow, but when I was cleaning up the dyes the other night, I couldn't throw them out. I just kind of let them there and on the side to dry, and I figured, well, I gotta come up with something to do with them. And I mean, this is not brain surgery. I'm sure you guys have, you know, come up with this before, like making these types of flowers. These are not, it's not my idea, you know, it's not, I'm not, is that the back side? Pay attention to what side you're doing these to too. I just realized that. Let's put that back on this side and tie it over here. You know, it's not brain surgery. I know I didn't invent this flower at all. I've been making these flowers for a very, very long time. I think since I was a child, I was making these fabric flowers, to be honest. So yeah, you can just, and honestly, this is something else you can do with this. So instead of gluing these two sides together, you can actually make this more petals. So just cutting them in. Oh, shoot. Try not to double it up like I just did, because I'm just gonna cut that out because I just kind of doubled that up. Oops. Try to have that straight on the crease would be great. Pay attention to that. Don't do as I do. Do as I say, not as I do. But now you have petaled flowers, right? And as you go, you don't have to glue them together because they're all going to be separated anyway, and you can kind of overlap them, fiddle with them, and then glue them down like that. And then, yeah, something like that with a button, with a button. Doop. Something more interesting, that one. I don't have any interesting buttons. I only have one colored button, which is one green one. It's right there. And that was it, close by. But like, see how easy those are? And with lace in between, it's even better. And like I said, those are baby wipes. Like, you don't need fabric, right? But if you had fabric, where did I do with that fabric? There. But if you had some, okay. Same idea. This one I was trying to make it fray more, but it wasn't fraying for some reason. Now I like the frayed look on my fabric to make it more shabby, but this one just wasn't doing it, so I'm not sure why. But anyway, I'm not going to fight with it on camera because it's finicky, like I said. And this isn't very wide. This is 2 inches, almost 2 inches. I think 2 inches is the happy size, I think. 'Cause like I said, this one wasn't very wide. This one was like 1.5 inches. So I think 2 inches should be the good size, I think, for easier to punch this. But anyway. And this you can do with this with satin, you can do this with lace, you can do this with anything, any type of fabric. Cut some strips, away you go, you got some flowers very easily. You need something to match up in your journals, and you don't have wide pieces to make like yo-yos and things like that. If you have a strip, put it in this. I don't think I'm gonna need all that. It's a lot of fabric. You can tell when it's not, I'm going to cut that piece off. That was a large strip. So let's tear that. Oh, I didn't cut a piece. Cut a piece of this. That was my last one. Okay. So how manly this fabric is. Oh, it's going to make a nice flower. It's going to make a nice flower, which you wouldn't think it would, but it's going to. Don't, some fabrics are fugly. That's all I'm going to say. Jen and I, when we're out, we're looking for like the ugliest shirts, women's shirts and things, because they make the best, have the best fabric, to be fair. Now, which side is the right side? Which side is the right side? Okay, we're going to go with this side. So yeah, we'll look for like the ugliest shirt, and I'm sure the people at the thrift stores are thinking like we're crazy. There's no way in hell these girls are wearing this. You're right, we're not. But we'll cut it up for flowers, because when it turns into a smaller piece of fabric and gets presented in a different way, you can't tell how ugly that fabric is, right? This is gonna be a nice little shabby flower. Big tails. I guess I did a little bit too much on that one, but big tails. Okay. And just making sure that it's even, and then we can glue this. See how easy that is? As pretty as that. Manly fabric. Now let's cut this, because I know I don't need all this, that's for sure. We don't need all this, so let's do a lacy one. If you have lace with big holes, see it like this can go right through there, so it can be annoying, just be wary of it. You know what's gonna happen. Don't get frustrated like me. Because it is kind of annoying when it goes through there, especially if you're doing them fast and you're trying to get, pound a bunch of them out. I don't think I need all that either. It's a lot, but let's put it all in there and see what happens. Squish it all down. Squish it all down to the end. Make it as squished as possible. And I need another piece of twine. Yep. Even if it starts to come out the end, just as soon as you put the, obviously when you put the string in, you just tie it tight again. It'll come back together. Keep her nice and tight. And here we go. And this side, as you can see, see how this is poking out higher? This just means that this side needs to be pulled a little bit more. There we go. And this one too. There we go. So as you can see, these are actually exactly the same size. I was hoping one was a little bit smaller, but they're not. Okay, well, that's all right. C'est la vie. You know, it's still nice. Okay. So I can glue these on top of each other. Now, generally you want the bottom one to be just a smidgen bigger than the top one, but literally they're the exactly same size. Oh well, won't. And put in a little button on top. That's cute. So any type of fabric, guys, any type of fabric, you can make these. But for today, this was my not wowing, but this is how I'm recycling all this baby wipes is what I'm doing. I'm making these all into flowers or ruffles, or ruffles like this. And if you're not sure how to make a ruffle, if you don't have a sewing machine, you can make a ruffle very easily without one. Give me a second here. You can make a ruffle just by gluing them down to a page. So I would take a strip, you do this at the time when you're making it, is put a strip of glue down the center and literally just glue down the middle, scrunch it, glue, glue, glue. And with hot glue, that's like that, right? It's really not hard to, if you don't have a sewing machine, you can definitely do that with glue, hot glue, even a fabric tack, anything like that. So that is what I'm doing with these baby wipes. So like I said, it was a quick, it's not a brain surgery video, it's just a quick one, just showing you how I'm playing with these and not throwing them in the garbage because they're very useful. You know, like I said, I'm almost tempted to take out my other spray dyes and go make some other colors. It's what I'm kind of tempted to do, but they're so quick, right? Just using this little bobby pin, very quick. Don't bother sewing them, don't bother really gluing them. I'm gonna glue this one together just so you can see it. Is this on? Oh yeah, that's hot actually. Okay, so this is a massive glue gun. I need a smaller glue gun, but I'm just gonna put a little tiny glob, if I can get it out without burning myself. Little tiny one, two. Get this out of my way, and then literally just glue the top piece together. And same on this. Oh, same on this side. Just a little tiny piece of glue. Glob of glue. Without making a mess would be great. I really need a smaller glue gun. But, and we're just gonna glue that end together. I'm gonna cut off these tails, because those are gonna get hidden by the centerpiece anyway, but let's cut them off for now. And there we see we have a flower. Isn't that pretty? You can put them on, you know, this is a lay flower. That I'm going to dye these a little bit more because they're just one color. I'm not really liking the straight colors, honestly, but layered up would be pretty. like that, maybe. Big button in the middle, or a small button. I did paint some buttons with some nail polish, but I didn't do enough of them, so I do need to do more. Let's see, then we have these little, you know, little flower buttons maybe, or maybe darker color here. Just give me a sec. Maybe this one too. Yeah, so play up with it, fun stuff. Like I said, everybody's got, I mean, if you don't have baby wipes in your craft space, you should. That should be a must. That should be an absolutely, you must have in your craft space is baby wipes for cleanup. And what do you do with them after? So, you know, throw them in a box or in a, you know, a basket or something. And I'm going to glue this one together. You know, throw them in a basket, and, you know, when you're doing flowers or ruffles, whichever, you know, cut them up and do that with them. And then, like I said, you always have these not flower, but fabric flowers or lace flowers. Make these, throw these in a jar, and then, you know, when you want to make flowers one day or you're doing a project, you can just grab them and go. That's kind of where what I need to be doing is mass making my stuff again, because I ran out of everything that I had made, pre-made, and now I have nothing left. So I'm back to square one making this type of stuff, and yeah, as you know, everybody needs to do for their craft space. If you're into making junk journals, this is kind of like a mandatory thing, right? And if you want to repurpose cheap, you can get baby wipes at the Dollarama, I think for like $2 or $1.50 or something like that for a travel one even. Leave it open, leave it put outside on a sunny day, leave it open, let them all dry out. Or you can leave them wet and use them as you need to, and then just, you know, hoard them until you're going to make things. So that was my video for today, guys. Really quick one. So let me see what I can come up with these and how fancy I can make these in the end. You guys will see the journal in the end, so you'll see what happens to these nice pretty flowers, but these ones are going to get glued together because they need to be pushed together. But anyway, that's it for today, guys. Thanks so much. Happy crafting. Take care. Bye-bye.